Hello everyone and welcome to another Thomas video. So today we're going to be taking a look at mono white tokens deck in Thomas format. So I'm kind of late on this deck. This deck was introduced by Marley and the list has been doing really well in the ladder. But I thought that if I just played it when it came out, I was just going to get a mirror matches left and right. So I was kind of waiting on this one. So we're finally taking a look at this deck today. So first things first, I did change the deck ever so slightly, and I'll touch upon that in the outro section. But if you haven't seen this deck for some reason, I'll talk a little bit about this deck, because this deck does some pretty insane stuff with this new card called the Exalted Sunborn. So this is another warp card that came out with Edge of Eternities. Along with the Starfield Shepherd, both of these cards have exactly warp cost 2. And this is a 5 and a 4/5 with lifelink and flying, which is pretty nice if you can cheat this out with something like an Ephemerate or Ophelia. But even as a non-permanent creature, if you just take advantage of the warp and its effect, it can actually make your board state pretty insane. So what it says is if one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. Which means if you have something like an Oscillator Pride, at the end of the turn, this is going to trigger making additional tokens. And this becomes even better if the Oscillator Pride has City's Blessing. So not only is the Oscillator Pride doubling on the copies that you make, but if the Exalted Sunborn was warped that turn, you can also double up on that effect, which can go pretty nuts. Another card that the Exalted Sunborn can pair up in this deck is actually this card called the Cottontail Caretaker. When this creature enters the battlefield, choose a white creature card in your hand and that card perpetually gains Offspring 1. And basically Offspring is a mechanic where you may pay an additional cost as you cast that creature with the Offspring, and if you do, when that creature enters, create a 1/1 copy of it. So if you give the Offspring to the Exalted Sunborn, what's going to happen is you're going to make 2 1/1s on the battlefield that just permanently stays, because the Exalted Sunborn is going to create a copy using the Offspring, but because the Sunborn itself duplicates that, you're going to make 2 copies of it. And what's going to happen when the Oscillator Pride is also on the battlefield and you also have a City's Blessing? Well, things are about to get crazy to the point where I don't know what's going to happen. Another thing that you can do with the Caretaker is obviously just put it on the Oscillator Pride so that you can make another Oscillator Pride. And if you also give it to something like a Solitude, you're going to make another Solitude that turn to exile another card. So for just 1 mana, you can exile 2 cards at the same time. But another really cool application the Caretaker can do that you might not have realized is with this other card called the Ajani. Considering that the Ajani is a legendary card, if you give the Offspring to the Ajani, 2 Ajanis are gonna come down, which means because of the legendary rule, all you have to do, select the original Ajani that you want to transform to the Planeswalker so that it stays on the battlefield, which means the other Ajani that you created is going to go to the graveyard, which is the token counterpart. This is pretty important because tokens cannot transform to the other side because there is no other side. So once Ajani transforms, well, if you also have something like an Exalted Sunborn on the battlefield or the Oscillator Pride City's Blessing, you're going to make bunch of tokens, or better yet, if you already have a lot of cat tokens on the battlefield, you can just plus it, give everything counter, and potentially just win the game. So, thanks to that, I'm gonna be hopping over to some Thomas Best of 3 to show you guys what the deck does. So, let's hop on there. Alright, let's take a look at this deck today. Kind of a slow hand, I would say. Not having an Ancient Tomb or a Chrome Mox, but I do have a Caretaker here. Let's go. Den of the Bugbear. Okay, I was gonna actually go with Felia if I don't draw a land, but now that I've drawn a land, I think we go with the Caretaker. So we can buff the Ajani here. Cleansing Wildfire. Okay. Well, They're about to find out. We have million planes. Let's just cast this.
To the hunt. It's not perfect.
Okay.
We have peace.
Choose the permanent that you want to keep, right? So you have to keep this one so that this one transforms. Static Prison seems pretty good. What do we take out? I guess maybe like the expensive cards, but like the thing is like you don't want to get rid of a flyer, in my opinion. So I think I'm kind of leaning towards like Ephemerate here. Yeah, Ephemerate. Yeah, I'm just gonna take out Ephemerate. Maybe a copy of one of our 2-mana cards. All right, another kind of a slow hand. I do have a Felia turn 2. Seems like they have a Lightning Bolt. Volcanic Fissure. Okay, so we can actually get the Exalted Sunborn down here if we wanted to. I think I'm just going to pass with the Felia. So Slickshot Show Off comes out into a bauble. Guess I'm gonna play this out. Ancient Tomb. Interesting. I'm going to leave up Ephemerate. Alright, GG's. Okay, this is a kind of cute hand. We have the Witch Enchanter for the Chrome Mox so that we can run out the Cottontail early. We're going down on so many cards though. That's the thing. Like we can give this thing Offspring, but look at this. We're going down on the card with the Chrome Mox. We're also going down on the card with the Solitude. We're gonna be left with nothing with this hand. Not much better, but I guess we can work with it. So I believe I am actually going to grab a land here. Yup. The Cub. Guess we pass. Another cub. Oh my god. This is not good. This is not good. Well, at least we have a Solitude coming out next turn. That's a good news. Maybe I should have actually just played it. I don't know why I just waited. Yeah, I messed up. I should have just this was definitely a mess up on my part. Yeah, I should have just went ahead and played the Solitude out immediately, but I got okay, never mind. Okay, opponent messed up too. I mean, I need an ephemerate. I need an ephemerate. I think we're dead. I think we're dead. I think so. I mean, my hand was so clunky. I didn't do anything on turn 1, turn 2, things like that. It was just all kinds of bad. Alright, let's have a Static Prison. We probably want some flutes in this matchup for the Strip Mine. It's got a Exalted Sunborn. I feel like that's too important in this matchup. Maybe in a Johnny? I mean, I guess like there's not much to cut. We do have to just cut Felia. Archon would be nice against this kind of deck because the strip mines come in tap. Same with the fetch lands. Thinking about it, I guess we just have to like make do with like just going down on some of these like big cards, right? Okay. I will say One Ring is a fantastic card versus them, so maybe I'm supposed to like actually bring another copy of that card in potentially. We're gonna play One Ring here. Seems good. Archon. That's actually really bad for me. Yeah, that's actually pretty bad for me. Okay, so it looks like Swords is about to come out here, which is, I guess, okay for me because I'm gaining life. I think we have to kill the Archon with this. I still explore pretty good. Basically, I need this card dead immediately. That card's too dangerous. That's a really heads-up play, so they could either put the Anointed Peacekeeper on the one ring so that... Wow, they didn't play it? Couldn't they Deathrise Shaman, eat it, and then play this because they had the leftover mana? But the fact that they decided to do this probably means that they have a Swords again in hand. Okay, Static Prison was a fantastic part here. So I think we're going to start with the Static Prison. On the Archon. And I'm going to Disruptor Flute the Deathrise Shaman. And I am going to play the Guide of Soul. And I'm going to play the Shepherd. Get another Guide of Soul. Then I'm going to attack with the Oslo Pride. Okay. I think we actually handled that turn pretty well. The opponent can't use Deathrise Shaman to get, you know, Black Source, so they have to rely on... Because I think if they're playing the list that I played... Okay, so we're going to go into Solitude. What I meant to say was, if they play the list that I played, they should have Toxic Deluge. So I think they're finally realizing that the Disruptor Flute is on the Deathrise Shaman at the moment. Nice. Very nice. So it does seem like the One Ring kind of overpowers them, potentially. So I think having another copy of a One Ring might be the way to go. Archon is very, very interesting because it stops the strip mine from blowing up our lands like immediately, and their fetch land becomes a lot worse. But I think I just kind of like everything else. All right, this is a very just, you know, just win with the Oslo Pride kind of thing, kind of hand. I'm gonna save the Solitude for something else. Like, their 3-mana cards coming out. There's that Strip Mine. The opponent brought Force of Vigor. So I can't actually use the Solitude right now. Because if I use it on the Deathrise Shaman, they're just going to call the Oslo Pride, right? So this way, if they call Oslo Pride, right, we can still play it by getting rid of the Anointed Peacekeeper. I actually think calling the Solitude was the correct play here, because if they call the Solitude, I won't have the energy for the Guide of Souls. Alright. Thank you, opponent. Alright. It's a pretty good hand, actually. We're playing against Eldrazi. Sure. I'm kind of reluctant to do this, but I don't know if this is actually a pretty good idea. Okay, so opponent doesn't have a Kha'Zix command, that's for sure. That is for sure. Okay, we just need to get another card for this card. Matter Reshaper. That is pretty cool. Alright, so we're gonna want Static Prison, and we're gonna want Archon. I think opponent's playing a little bit slower version, I'm gonna say. So we get rid of the Ephemerate because of Archon here, since we can't cast like multiple cards per turn. Okay, I think we're gonna run like so. So we do have a turn 1 Archon, which is kind of cool. Matter Reshaper. Matter Reshaper. Wow, Mountain. Right, so what's the play here? If I play this out now, then I can potentially hard cast a Solitude next turn. But if I play this, that means I get to have an Ajani down, which means like they might not be able to attack. I think I'm just gonna go with this.
What a beautiful day, brother.
Okay, so we got this anyways. So we can hard cast the Solitude, which is good. Or I can just play this. I think playing this out is probably much better. Maybe I actually should have gotten an Also the Pride because of Najani. They're still attacking. When this creature dies, reveal the top card. You may put it onto the battlefield. So if they're attacking like this, there could be a board wipe. Like a fire magic. But then they would have attacked with this anyways, though. If that were the case. I'm just going to take the 4. So they're gonna take away the Solitude, right? Yeah, they're gonna take away the Solitude. Okay. Pretty close game. Pretty close game. So 5 a turn. Battle Mage. They have something. Yeah, opponent actually just drew something here. I actually think they might have a fire magic. Alright. I don't think it's a bad hand. Because of a Solitude. Yeah, this looks like some sort of a land destruction. Maybe not. It's a reanimate deck? Okay.
Fight beside me, brother.
Fatal Push into a Shaman. Okay, I mean, I can delay it for a bit just by playing the One Ring here. Hey, got another One Ring. Easy peasy. You get to also deal 2 damage. Pretty good. Pretty good. Now the question is, do they play Orcish Bowmaster? That's the thing. Do they play Orcish Bowmaster? We'll find out. Seems like they don't. So I can just go One Ring again to kind of stall yet again, right? Because we're just kind of looking for like our Guide Up Souls and also the Prides. Like that's how we're gonna win, right? We also need to find a Solitude. That's pretty bad because they're gonna blow up our Ancient Tomb here. Yeah, I think the biggest problem we're facing right now is we're just not finding our Solitude. I think they messed up. They could have played this using the Ancient Tomb, and then they could have dealt some damage. So we can go Guide Up Soul, Guide Up Soul. That's it. Yeah, that's really about it. I guess it's just better to have a Guide Up Souls into a Johnny. I think we're dead. Not finding Solitude there was basically game over. Yeah. Our hand is just way too clunky without not being able to find Chrome Mox or Solitude this game.
Triumphs.
Wah wah wah. I think we lose no matter how I see it. I mean, that's not true. We can find Chrome Moxes. So that's not technically true. We can always find Chrome Moxes and Solitude here. Well, let's see it. Wait, they're not going to use a strip mine? I feel like that's a mistake. Okay, never mind. They had a sowing micro spawn. We can still win. We can still win. So the way we win is going to be through getting a Solitude and finding Chrome Moxes with this one ring. That's how we're gonna win. So let's find... Okay, that's a good start. We just need to find Solitude now. We found a Solitude and Chrome Mox. Okay, so there is a way we can win this one. So Chrome Mox, Exalted Sunborn. We're going to Solitude both the Wary Zone Guard and Deathray Shaman. Before we do that, I'm going to play God of Soul so that we can start gaining life. We're gonna play our Solitude. I think the slowest card at the moment might be Felia or a Johnny. But Johnny makes 2 creatures on the battlefield, which is... I mean, I guess the technically like the slowest is the Sunborn. But it can get pretty crazy with the... Yeah, I think I'm just going to get rid of Ophelia here. So I am going to get rid of the Wary Zone Guard. And Solitude. Again, to get rid of the Deathray Shaman. And then we're going to play the Ajani. Super close game. Maybe... No. Maybe it is actually better to play the Shepherd so I can get a plane for sure. But then we have the 1 ring going at the moment, so... Oh no! I made a mistake! I thought I had 1 more mana there. That's a throw. That is a throw. I take this damage, right? I would have been at 8. What am I doing? What am I doing? Okay. I think I just have to go Shepherd into Oslo Pride. I think we're just going to barely survive. Let's say I attack. And I have 2 blockers. It's kind of risky. Because we are at 1. We could be at 3 more life if I didn't make a mistake. Okay, Solitude, a very, very good draw, by the way. I can go Con Caretaker, Solitude, exile both of these. And then I go to 4. And then 5. Or is it better to go Exalted Sunborn? Get rid of 3 of these. No, it's gonna be the same thing, but I get less blocker in the future, so... Caretaker. Copy the Solitude. Pay the Offspring. I just don't think a 5 and a card is gonna come out when opponents like destroying lands every single turn. Get rid of the Weary Zone Guard. And let's get rid of their Lifelinker. So we do have 2 blockers here. So even if they draw a removal spell, I can block with one of them. So I'm gonna attack with the Guide of Soul. What a game. What a game. So I think I'm just going to block with our non-life linker. Because I can pump the Solitude with the Guide of Soul. Chrome Mox. Let's say I Solitude, Chrome Mox the Johnny. Shepherd, grab an Oslo Pride. I can't quite use a Caretaker on the Oslo Pride. I think the best thing to do might be just grabbing another... Haha, man. Okay, well. I think it has to be. Huh. So Oslo Pride is actually gonna make a bunch of tokens right now because it's at 8. So I think I'm just going to play the Oslo Pride out here. Might have made a mistake. I could have played the other one, the Caretaker, instead of the Ajani.
May our axes strike as one.
But I think this is still okay. Crazy game. Yeah, crazy game. Like, we're just barely living. I'm definitely not going to draw anymore because I don't know opponent's list. They could have a Orcish Bowmaster for all I know. Yeah, I definitely messed up this game. Definitely messed up. That last turn where instead of playing the Ajani, I think the Contail would have been better because I forgot that the Ancient Tomb actually gave me 1 extra mana. So we could have actually used that for this before playing the Awesome Pride for the Offspring cost. Yeah, pretty crazy game. So they're playing black, so getting these like 5-mana cards out is actually pretty important because they have a hard time dealing with them. I'll probably cut maybe a copy of Ophelia. Ephemerite's just too important in this matchup. I'll cut on a Johnny. Oh, I should have brought Flute. Oh, my bad. Forgot about that. I need a Flute for the Strip Mine. Yeah, I messed up. Messing up a lot this match. The Deathray Shaman comes out. I really don't want to do this, but I kind of might have to. So no Strip Mines yet, which is good. So they're gonna play a 3-mana card. Worry Zone Guard. Pretty good. Pretty good. Forest and a Deathray Shaman. Alright. So I think we have to Static Prison the Worry Zone Guard. Let's see how much mana I have. Guide of Soul. Shepherd. I can't quite do everything that I want to do, which is very unfortunate. I can't get the Oslo Pride out here. think I have to get rid of the Worry Zone Guard. I don't think there's a choice. And I think we have to grab the planes here. Because we would need... They're gonna destroy one of our lands, right? And then we have to play the planes into a Chrome Mox so that we can play both of these out. So I think they are going to destroy our... They're going to destroy our Ancient Tomb because they see that we have a planes now, right? So Guide of Soul. Oslo Pride. So if I want to bounce this, I mean, I don't think trading for like this makes too much sense in my opinion. I think we just do this. I think it's just way better. Since I get to deal more damage, things like that. Alright, I think we won. Potentially. If they have a Fatal Push, they might use it on the Guide of Soul before combat, so let's just grab another Guide of Soul. So they gain some life. But then they still can't Toxic Deluge. That's the thing. So I feel like this is in the bag. Just in case if, you know, they play like Damnation and then get rid of everything, I still have a Guide of Soul to give it flying. I don't know. Alright, GG's opponent. Very good game. Alright, so we took a look at this deck today. We had some really weird games. It's so cool that everybody's just kind of experimenting like with different decks and stuff like that. The meta is just so fresh. I love it. Took a look at this deck. I'm like 5 days late to this deck, but maybe that's a good thing because when this deck was first announced on the Reddit, a lot of people were actually on this list. It would have been just mirror matches every single game. But yeah, I mean, this deck is very, very nice. The Exalted Sunborn wasn't as important as I thought. To be fair, we actually never got to see like a Caretaker into Sunborn once in like 6 matches. So there is that as well. but this card, while it's pretty cool, it's not like the end all be all. Like even if you don't have this, you're still gonna have a good time. I think another good card to consider, especially if you don't have mythic wild cards and if you like drafted and got some of this card, Halia Guided by the Light. This only has warp cost 1. This is definitely another card that you could try instead of an Exalted Sunborn. Obviously, the Exalted Sunborn is going to have more synergy with the deck, but this is a budget option if you are thin on the mythic wild cards. And although the Ancient Tomb is really good in this deck, there's definitely some scenarios where, because this deck is actually so color hungry, sometimes having an Ancient Tomb can be a detriment. 3 cards that you definitely want to play in a single turn could be Starfield Shepherd, into grabbing either an Awesome Pride or Guide Up Soul, so that you can play both a Guide Up Souls and Awesome Pride in a single turn. So because this requires 3 white sources, sometimes having an Ancient Tomb can be a detriment, but it does allow us to just potentially hardcast a Starfield Shepherd, Exalted Sunborn, or even get the 1 ring down on turn 2 and 3. That's really good. And even after sideboarding, there's some Archons you can bring, and having that turn 1 Disruptor Flute can be pretty nice as well. So this is kind of like a give and take kind of situation. Like even though it's good, but at the same time there's some detriments with it. So I think that is why this deck actually doesn't see something like a Strip Mine in the deck, even though Strip Mine is really good, but the deck kind of only allows either the Ancient Tomb or the Strip Mine because of this kind of scenarios. One thing that's actually really nice is that Cottontail Caretaker only uses 1 colorless for the Offspring, so I think that's a plus. If this actually required 1 white pip to Offspring, I think this card would be unplayable. And there's some other cool shenanigans you can do, like you can do like Cotton Caretaker into a Johnny, flip this immediately. We've actually done it once. But yeah, nothing really bad to say about this deck. I think this deck is actually really strong, by the way. But it can also be on the slower side unless you mulligan properly. I've definitely kept some hands that I thought it was gonna be okay, but turns out just keeping like Exalted Sunborns, Shepherd, despite having a tomb, things like that, this is just not gonna work because your turn 1 you're just not doing anything, turn 2 you're playing a Shepherd means that you're also not doing anything. So that's kind of what I learned from playing this deck. As for the sideboard, I have gone ahead, changed the deck a little bit. So this deck used to have Angel of Eternal Dawn. I just don't think this card is it. So I have just gone ahead and just replace this with Archon, is I think it's just a better card overall. And this is also very good against Strip Mine decks, because if you play this out on turn 1, their Strip Mines and Fetch lands come in tapped, which is actually really strong, because then you can slow down the opponent's plan in blowing up our lands, which means you might be able to just kind of tempo them out by playing a bunch of Awesome Prides or Guide Up Souls early and just kind of win the game. So Archon is very good against a Strip Mine deck, but it's also really good against Eldrazi's. So Eldrazi's, all of their lands come in tapped, which is very strong as well. And the other card that I added is the Ajani. So this is gonna be our Mirror Breaker. A lot of the times in the mirror match, in the mono white tokens mirror match, you're probably gonna have a board full of tokens versus a board full of tokens. In those kind of circumstances, top decking the Johnny is really strong, because it just says if you have at least 15 life or more than your starting life total, which is easily achievable in this deck. You just, ultimate, just one-sided exile opponent's creatures and even artifact, which is going to be their 1 ring there. So I think the Ajani is very strong in the mirror match. So we have 1 copy there, which is actually pretty nice. So yeah, that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye.